Hey y'all, it's Adelaide. Welcome back to my channel. And now that all of the Disney Designer Line Dance Series dolls have been released, I thought it might be fun to do something a little bit different and have a discussion on these dolls as a whole and the line in general. We're going to talk about initial reactions. We will talk about things they did well, things they could have done better, and what I hope for this line going forward. So let's just jump right in. So 6 dolls were released. I got 4. The first one was Giselle. Then Belle came next. Then Esmeralda. Followed by Tinkerbell. And then Aurora. And lastly, Mulan. Generally, when the stock photos first dropped, there were mixed reactions. Some of the designs were quite welcomed, like Giselle's pink dress. There was also happiness at seeing Aurora's blue dress, because even though she wears it for most of the movie, it's not a dress we see as often in the branding. We usually see her pink dress. And Mulan's dress is even based on her final outfit in the movie, so it's nice to see a fresh take on familiar outfits. However, not all of the dolls were well received at first. Belle in particular was a victim of this. A lot of people did not care for her dress very much. They did not like the design generally. Other features were well received, like people loved her hairstyle, people loved her shoes, but the dress overall was a point of contention for many people. But then the dolls came out, and how did Disney actually do? We'll talk about the negatives first, and then we'll talk about the positives to end on a high note. So first we have to talk about the box. The box is very unique for these dolls. They are round, and they are meant to look like a stage, and they have panels that swivel in front of the dolls to look like curtains. And it's a very cute and clever design, and the dolls look fantastic in these boxes. However, they are very big. The bottoms are completely flat, and then at the top, in order to hold the panels in place, they have this big plastic piece. And a lot of doll collectors prefer to stack their dolls to display them. And because of how these boxes were made, they just are not stackable. So for comparison, I have a 17-inch limited edition doll box. And while they are tall, they're also far more narrow. And it's very easy to stack them one on top of the other. And that's how people like to display their dolls a lot, especially inbox collectors. And I know that several people ended up passing on this line altogether because they just couldn't get past the box, and that's really a shame. And I think that's something that Disney needs to consider going forward. Another issue was the stock photos. The stock photos themselves, despite the designs of the dolls, people were not super overwhelmed by them in a good way. A lot of people were very skeptical of the dolls based on the stock photos alone. And poor Tinkerbell was probably the biggest victim of this. For whatever reason, in her stock photo, she looks like she has a very round face, very washed out yellow skin, and super vibrant yellow hair, even though her skin is actually much more muted in comparison, and her hair is actually quite blonde, not yellow. Thankfully, though, once she actually came out, people seemed to receive her positively. So that's a good thing, at least, but the stock photos really did not do her any favors. And the last thing I want to talk about is the actual release of these dolls. So for Belle, Esmeralda, Tinkerbell, Aurora, and Mulan, generally there weren't very many issues. In fact, to my knowledge, they are all still available on the United States Shop Disney website. The problem was Giselle, unfortunately. Everybody went crazy for this doll. She is the first limited edition Giselle doll that was available to the general public. You didn't have to go to the D23 convention to get her. And Disney painfully underestimated how much people would want her. And on the US shop, when she dropped, she sold out in 15 minutes. And unfortunately, the EU was an even bigger victim of this, because it appears that, especially with Giselle, but with other dolls too, they just simply did not allocate enough stock for the dolls, and it wasn't unusual for some of these dolls to hit the Shop Disney website and already be gone. So it doesn't make sense for there to be this huge backstock of some of these dolls in the US while the EU can't even get them. So that's something that really needs to be addressed. But let's talk about the pros, because there are a lot of them. I think overall this design went very well. One of the things that people were excited about was the character variety. For one thing, we got a Giselle. I mean, for crying out loud, we got a Giselle on the first drop, which is incredible. We also got Esmeralda, who we don't see very often. We got a Tinkerbell, and we got Mulan, who, while she has been in the designer line plenty, usually is towards the end of the releases. So people were very excited to see all these different characters. Another positive is the quality of these dolls. A lot of people have been concerned that the limited edition dolls have been slipping in quality, but personally, I think they really stepped it up for this line. All the dolls have embroidery. Beautiful. Perfect attention to detail. Extra accessories and details. Metal fittings. And Mulan even has an accessory and a unique hand mold to hold the accessory. So I actually think that they cared a lot about making good quality dolls for this line, and I think overall it really shows. I'm personally very impressed. And the other positive of this line was the word of mouth. As I said before, a lot of people were quite skeptical about some of these dolls, especially because of the stock photos. But as word of mouth started to go around that these dolls were in general quite nice, people seemed quite keen to pick them up. Belle and Tinkerbell really benefited from this. A lot of people, like I said, didn't like either one of them in the stock photos, but people started getting them, sharing their pictures, sharing their thoughts, and they both became much better received after the fact. So good job, community, good job. And that's going to bring me to my final thoughts. Overall, I love this line. I am very pleased with it. I love all the dolls I got, and I really hope that they continue this line in the future. I hope they continue with the high quality. I hope they continue with the accessories, even the shoes. The shoes on every last one of these dolls are fabulous. So I really, really want to see more of this line. D23 is next year, and I would love to see what they did with the Masquerade line, where they made a Prince and Princess pair a few times and had those as D23 exclusive. And yes, D23 exclusive isn't great, but it would be better than nothing to have a Prince and Princess dance line pair. That would be stupendous. So I really hope these dolls did well enough that Disney wants to continue with the line, because I love them, and I think others do too, and overall, I am very impressed with how they did. So for the end of this video, I want to take a second to thank everybody for the positive reactions. I started this channel on a whim with my friends, but I have received so much positive feedback, and I am incredibly grateful to you guys for watching, subscribing, liking, commenting. And I have decided that after this, I'm actually going to continue this channel, and I have a lot of plans for this channel, and I'd be very pleased if you stuck around for that. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will include a link to my playlist where I review all of these dolls, so check that out if you care to do so. And thank you again, take care, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye!